Season 1 for Black Ops 6 Zombies is here, and Treyarch have made a number of stealth changes, nerfs, and adjustments to a ton of stuff in the game, especially regarding speedrun skips, changes to weapons, and even changing movement. So in this video, we're going to gloss over everything that wasn't mentioned in the patch notes, so that you're aware of everything that's changed now in Zombies. If you find this video useful at any point, let me know in the comments, and be sure to drop a thumbs up because it spreads this out there so more Zombies fans can see these changes. The Season 1 brought with it the store, which now has a separate section for Goble Gums, where inside there is a featured pack worth 1,100 COD points and then 2 smaller packs that refresh every 24 hours. The main featured pack has 12 Goble Gums of ultra rarity, including Perkaholic, as well as every other ultra Goble Gum that you could think of, and with the other items, those refresh every 24 hours, but you can buy as many of these as you want with as many COD points as you want. Big pack of 12 Goble Gums is only around $10, which compared to the prices of gambling and Black Ops 3 Zombies, these prices aren't actually too crazy and are a completely optional purchase if you want to go down this route, but you can still earn Goble Gums exactly as you were before Season 1. Earn rate hasn't changed as far as I'm aware, but if you wanted specific Goble Gums now, you can purchase them indefinitely. And when going to edit a Goble Gum pack, you will always be able to go straight to the Goble Gum store to buy more. And within the user interface, they've updated the Goble Gums to look a lot better, a lot more sharper. Now in-game, when you get a Goble Gum, you will see an in-game description of what it does, just like how it did in Black Ops 3. And when you actually activate the Goble Gum, there will be a new prompt in the top right, which just looks a little bit sharper and cleaner. Moving on to one of the most fundamental negative changes with this update, which feels like a mistake on Treyarch's end, is now you can no longer sprint and reload at the same time. And you will absolutely feel this in-game. You will feel a lot slower, and in general, this just really slows down the pace of Zombies with that Omni movement. And in this clip, I have a Perkaholic, so I have stamina up, and you can see that when I'm sprinting, I'm slower, and when I reload, I'm slower. There's like a really noticeable pause and slowdown in speed between the normal sprint speed and then the tac speed. Tactical sprint still feels as fast as it always has been, but you don't always have that infinite tac sprint, and then when you're normal sprinting, it just feels so much slower, like you're running in sludge or like you're skiing along butter. Like, I don't really know what's going on here. But over on Twitter, the Treyarch community manager has replied to Freckleston on this issue, where they're trying to really address it and get to the bottom of it. So it does seem like this was not an intentional change. Others have also said that they felt even with the augments to increase the reload speed of Speed Cola, it feels a lot slower now. And all of this just feels like very unintentional changes from Treyarch's part that I hope get reverted really, really soon. If you missed the massive patch notes that dropped last night explaining all of the changes coming today, one of them included a huge buff across all assault rifles and Zombies. However, it seems Treyarch have broken that across Zombies and multiplayer, where the values for the assault rifles have actually gone back to what they were at the launch of the game. One weapon that has escaped this is the XM4, where apparently earlier today they nerfed the XM4 to do 214 headshot damage, but it's now been buffed to 321 in the head. This was discovered on the COD Zombie subreddit by Impressive Capital 3, and I'll link their Reddit thread below. But a massive shout out to him and the community for all of this awesome testing that they've been doing so quickly after the update. But apparently the XM4 is now the strongest weapon in the game. It might not be for too much longer, but right now it is absolutely busted. Definitely use it whilst you can. But a few other weapons didn't survive and have been nerfed apparently, and that includes the Mustang and Sally pistols, but specifically the damage against the Patient 13 boss fight, according to speedrunner Freckleston. Up until now, these were the best weapons in the game damage-wise and were just so OP. And apparently they are still OP, but against the main boss fight at the end, apparently not as good. Some other users are also reporting that the ASG shotgun is no longer as good in Zombies as it was. But apparently it feels that way only in the early parts of the gun's progression, where even when it's green and papped in early rounds is not very good. When further upgraded, it seems to be close to what it was pre-season. If there are any other weapons that you feel aren't as good as they used to be or are even better, please let me know down below in the comment section so we can spread that news to the community. In the intro, we mentioned about some speedrun skips being patched, and unfortunately Treyarch has changed some of the speedrun tactics on one of the maps. On Liberty Falls, there are several different tricks during the Easter egg and actual skips you can do, including being able to use your guns during the valve step. Fortunately, Treyarch has not changed this, so you can still do this trick where if you have the final shot of a Mangler cannon, shoot it, and then quickly as it's swapping back to your weapons, start turning the valve, you'll still be able to use your weapons. There's also a glitch using Ether Shroud to glitch in inside the shed, and that apparently still works. But one of the biggest skips in the entire Easter egg is duplicating the canister, and that has been patched. Going forward, all future speedruns on Liberty Falls will include everyone having to do both canister steps, which is going to add a lot more time than what there originally was. Now, I personally don't think it was harming anyone having this in the game. It's a bit like the Origins Firestaff glitch for the robot step, and it's like, if you know, you know, but a lot of people were still going to do the Easter egg completely legit anyway. It was just a nice time skip, but now it is completely gone. But over on the Terminus Easter egg, there were two specific things that people could do to skip and get a faster time on the Easter egg, and the first was a wire duplication, and also being able to skip the lockdown by throwing down a shock charge on the trap door. Both of those have not been patched, so they still work for the speed runs of the Terminus Easter egg. The buoy laptop animation is apparently slightly longer than it was before, and that's according to Smart Guy over on Twitter, who I've seen speed run this Easter egg solo about 100 times, so I definitely trust him on that. And some players are saying that the boss health for Patient 13 seems to have scaled lower than it was before the patch. Smart Guy has also noticed a change with the Patient 13 boss fight, where you cannot put extra damage into the boss at the end of phases now, where he now is insta immune. So what this means is that before, if the health bar disappeared, there was still a few extra seconds where you could put some extra damage into Patient 13 before he disappeared off the map for a few minutes, but now you are no longer able to do that. Now, jumping onto field upgrades, in the patch notes, Dark Flare was mentioned to have a massive buff, and it is usable now and can kill full hordes even in round 30 plus. However, at the same time, Treyarch has also heavily nerfed Ether Shroud, Energy Mine, and Dark Flare charge rates if you're running the augment that gives you an extra charge of it, where apparently that second charge now takes a heck of a lot longer to recharge than it did before the patch, which is a pretty weird change and not something that I am happy about. Now, another really peculiar change is that it seems Treyarch have now changed it so you cannot carry multiple of a lethal or a tactical grenade if you've purchased them from the crafting table. As you see here, I have a decoy grenade. They are 500 salvage. I spent my salvage to get an extra one. It now says you do not have enough salvage. It hasn't given me a second decoy, but it's taken my salvage. And so either something has gone extremely wrong here, or Treyarch have made it so you can no longer actually buy more than one of each. And if you do buy them, for some reason, it will take your money, but it won't give you the item, not even drop it on the floor, which is very, very bizarre. Another really weird change is over on Terminus with the basketball Easter egg. It used to give you 2,000 points upon completion, but now when you do this Easter egg, it will now give you 4,000 points. And so if you match this with a double points drop, you will now be able to get 8,000 points from this, making this a lot more of a lucrative thing to do because you're going to be getting a lot more points than you were before. Other players are also reporting that since the Season 1 patch, elites and specials are now dropping a lot more mutant injections and gold keys than they were before. Now, there was a change about a week or so ago where if you took down elites and specials with a mutant injection, they would no longer drop any streaks. But now it seems if you do kill elites and specials, they're more likely to drop streaks than they were before, which I think is a really, really positive change. Another really small change is if you press the back button, you will now be able to see a timer in game of how long that match has been in progress, which I think is a really cool change. You can see how long it's taken you in order to get to specific parts of Easter eggs, especially if you're trying to go for that Dark Ops on Liberty Falls. But one of the biggest additions today with Season 1 for Zombies is the new Directed mode, where it offers full guidance for the main Easter egg quests on both maps, but the rounds are also capped. And depending on what step you are determines what round you are, but the rounds will never go above round 15. And as I'm sure you guys are well aware, on certain maps, you get special and elite zombies spawning in on certain rounds. And if you stay on round 11 after taking out the Mangler and taking out the zombies, it will spawn in the Mangler again and again and again. And you can get as many points as you want during this, and you can also rotate across multiple weapons, making this insanely easy to get any special kills with certain weapons or elite kills or the critical kills for the gold camo. But on the case of Terminus, you can have it where no manglers or amalgams will spawn, and you have very few parasites to deal with, and you'll stay on that round infinitely. Now, I can't see this lasting without Treyarch making some changes to this, maybe in the form of how much XP you gain from this. But in all honesty, I couldn't care less about not gaining XP from this method, because as long as it makes it an easier way to get these camos, then I definitely recommend you jump in and make the most of this. And yes, you can save and quit on a directed mode game, and it will take you back to the exact same round with the same conditions, so you can continue to farm for all the camo challenges to your heart's content. But that's all for the initial changes and secret things Treyarch did with this patch. Again, if you've noticed anything else, please let me know down below in the comments. And to make sure you don't miss any videos like this on any future updates, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton more videos on Season 1 dropping imminently, so make sure you subscribe with the bell ticked. But thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.